The way that these animals were created were slightly like slicing up a piece of cake. There would be a block of wood, circular in shape, and the height of whichever animal it is. Let's pick one at random. How about one of these stripy hyenas? They would then cut slices through the cake, smaller at the nose end, wider at the rear, and then very roughly carve in the details of the feet and the head and so on. And then they were given out to cottage workers to finish the carving and to cover the little animals with gesso, a kind of whiting, and then to paint the details on. So you can picture the scene in the southern area of Germany, in the Thuringian forests, where they had access to all this pine. You would find whole communities of parents, grandparents, uncles, aunties, and children sitting, painting the animals that they had round them. We have all the members of Noah's family, Noah in the centre in the red robe holding his staff. And it really was a toy that was educational as well as being amusing. First of all, it would teach you a little bit about the animals of the world. More particularly, this was a toy that could be played with in religious households on a Sunday. So it becomes part of the group of toys known as Sunday toys, things with a religious connection. It dates from the early part of the 19th century, something around perhaps 1825 to 1850, that second quarter of the 19th century. The other thing that I love about this one is its size, because they can be anything from this size up to great things that you almost feel you could sail in yourself. But this is a lovely size, very compact, and yet to fit in 89 animals. They're rare in bad condition. So in good condition, they are super rare. And I would have thought, if we're talking about value, we should certainly be talking about perhaps £2,500 to £3,500.
What's your house like without the door?
It's a little bit bare. We have a temporary panel in.
What do you know about it?
Well, it was actually designed and made by Vincent Micheli for his house that was built in 1929, and he worked in stained glass.
Yes.
My grandmother became his companion housekeeper. When they died, my aunt inherited the house, and then in turn I inherited the house.
I mean, what this takes us into is a particular period of English domestic architectural design, the spread of the suburbs along the arterial roads, all those bungalows and semis, all the same but all subtly different. And one of the ways builders made them different was by the installation of stained glass panels, either in the doors or very often in the primary room windows. You see them still there. Of course, so many have been stripped out by double glazing, by plastic frames. Hundreds and millions of doors have been replaced, of course, by dreadful fake Georgian replicas. So it's wonderful to see one that is actually total as it should be. Maritime motifs are the most popular. That's what people go for. You get all sorts of things, but the idea of often it's a sort of a great galleon in full sail. But this is much nicer because it's almost a contemporary image. All the other things are nice. The number 40 is very nice. I think this is a later replacement.
It is, yes.
It probably was an iron one originally to match that. But essentially it's as it should be. And of course it still belongs on the house, which is even better. Can you value a front door? Of course you can. Places called architectural salvage centres sell things like this all the time. What usually happens though is the panel is taken out, the door is scrapped, and it is sold as a stained glass panel, which is a great tragedy. But that panel is great. In the door, it has to be £400, which is quite a lot of money for a front door, but better than any replica or reproduction. So screw it back up and make sure it continues to live there. Thank you.
Thank you.